So I'm Martin Spencer. I'm a DJ, a retired arborist, and a record store owner, a friend of Credits Records. Welcome to my store. One, two, three. Prior to my record store days, I was doing tree work and I was collecting records and DJing, and they were the two things that sort of took me through my youth and right the way through until I was about 40. I grew up on hip hop, really. I was influenced obviously by my mum's sort of record collection, as most of us are, with our parents sort of influenced in many ways. So I went through the gamut of, pop and rock stuff as a kid as well, but I first got a hip-hop cassette in 86, 87, Run DMC, and I just knew I just loved rap music so much, and I used to rap the whole record or whatever, and really hip-hop took me through the 90s, and then there was electronic music that came along in the mid-90s for me too, with raves and from a DJ perspective as well. There was that crossover between the two, the hip-hop and beats-based music, so electronic stuff, break beats, and then more 4/4 type of stuff as well. A lot of metal and punk as well in those days, because we were skaters, so skateboarding sort of had this sort of ability to cross genre. Musically you could be into hip hop but you could still be into punk rock, and it was sort of normal. Sure. This is a RZA. I painted this 15 years ago. But I used to do a lot of stencilship. Not much of an artist, but I still like to have a dabble with it. When that Introducing record came out in '96, and I heard what you could do with an MPC sampler and what you could do from sampling records, and Paul's Boutique for the Beastie Boys as well, which was another one which was just all sample-based music and born out of sampling records. Those were pretty influential for me. Holy shit, I want to do this. I want to buy records and I want to DJ and sample and all that stuff, and it just it really just enchanted me. I needed to feel how that music made me feel. By listening to it, I needed to sort of be part of that, the process of creating it, and sort of explore what I could do with music in the longer term. So that sort of fed into all of that. When I got into the store, I was in a turning point in my life, sort of personally. It's sort of early 40s, and people might call it a midlife crisis, but I don't think it was. It was more of a relaunching, a rebirthing sort of period in my career, and having come to the end of one period of my life and into another. After doing a vocational assessment of all things with these people who sort of narrowed it down to 3 things that I could do. I could open a wholesale nursery, I could curate an art gallery, or I could open a record store. And they were the 3 things that they could come up with, because I was so completely lost at anything else other than climbing trees or talking about trees. I started doing tree work, pretty young, 17. I picked up a chainsaw and started climbing trees on a traineeship down on the Gold Coast, and just sort of fell in love with the risk, the adrenaline, and the science, and the biodiversity and all of everything that went with it. And so I started climbing trees and did that until I was 40. Climbed till I was 30, and then did consulting tree work for another 10 years until I was 40. So. As far as the actual fit out went, man, it was so organic. It just happened beautifully in a process of healing on my part at the same time, delivering this project that I was wound up like a top to make happen. And the pandemic was on, so I had all the time in the world. I had 6 months rent free when the lease started. I was like, well, normally you'd use that 6 months to make some cheddar, you know, when you open a place up, but nothing was open. So I was like, well, I'll just do the shop fit and just spend the 4, 5, 6 months doing the shop fit, take my time with it. And I think by, you know, virtue of that, sort of having that time up my sleeve to be able to do it, slow burn, that it turned out the way it did. I just went to Bunnings, like, you know, I had a rental car at the time. I just go down to Bunnings and just fill the car up with as much plywood as I can and just start knocking together these bins, and like bit by bit. It wasn't even like black and white, other than the logo was black and white, but it didn't even like occur to me until, you know, maybe halfway through the shop fit. I was like, hang on a sec, if I just paint everything black, and like, you know, I'd already had the walls painted white. It was like, hang on a sec, we should really lean into this black and white thing and just let records be the you know, pop for the art sort of thing. You know, it worked out really well, considering a zero experience with shop fitting, graphic design or construction. And you know, it's not amazing. Like, it's, you know, it's not to spec per se, but you know, it does the job and it looks all right. So yeah. When people come into the store, I want people to feel welcome. You know, I want people to walk in here and it to be like, you know, like coming to someone's lounge room, someone's place, pop in and say hi and hang out for a bit. There's a lot of intention behind it in terms of what it should look like, feel like, sound like, or what it should achieve more importantly. And for me, this place was to feel like a soft place to land, somewhere I wanted to come to every day, and you know, that it was just a little oasis, a little bubble in the midst of everything else. And I guess wanting everyone else to feel that vibe as well. So when they walk in, they go, oh shit, like, you know, I'm on my lunch break from my shitty job or whatever, and I come in and I can hang out in the record store for half an hour and walk out and feel better.